Okay, so I figured that would be a little more focused and effective. I will come back to that slide. I've actually have a couple of other slides, or at least one other slide to share with you. And also for those that have invested in this mastermind, one of the things I mentioned earlier in the talk, if you listen to the entire video, was the fact that the root of the mastermind concept, actually, Napoleon Hill came up with the term mastermind in the book called Think and Grow Rich, as I mentioned early in that video. However, I believe that the concept of mastermind goes all the way back to the book of Proverbs. And when we talk about seeking counsel and basically iron sharpening iron and so forth. So with that, we have a little bigger quorum here. We're going to now move into the the part of the meeting that normally we would say, here's your 30 seconds. And today you have bonus, and as we go through it, as we kick off this mastermind concept, as I said, for some that were on here earlier, is our intention really here. Next week, we're going to have a speaker. David Winch is going to talk about acquiring new customers and so on. And I think we can all recognize that that's probably a gap that we'd love to have filled in our business. But in the context of bringing in guest speakers, we're all hopefully going to create a core mastermind team where we begin to know essentially what our individual goals are at any given point in time along the mastermind. We can begin to know the challenges that each of us have. And then as we learn new things, not as individuals exclusively, but as a collective group, we can begin to help each other apply what we're hearing and what things are going as they come up in these sessions. So one of the things I'm going to do is I want to talk in terms of a number of you are regular participations in our Stay Connected and Thrive, and one of the things I want to say is Randy Sablick has volunteered to be our scribe, if you will. One of the benefits of the particular enterprise Zoom that I have is this actual, now that I'm recording it, is that this actual mastermind or this video is being transcribed as I speak. However, Randy is an amazing resource for picking the high points and taking copious notes. So as we go through this and you say something that's brilliant or impactful or important to you, as a group, we're going to try and collect that intelligence to maintain some continuity and consistency with our dealing as a group on your behalf to help do that. The other thing is, as we go forward, guess what? You may find something that is helpful to somebody in the group, and you may say, hey, I found this article or I found this thing, and I'd like to lead a mastermind discussion on topic ABC, whatever that is. And that is going to be there too. So Randy, I'm going to go a little out of order. I want you to, since you've had a little more runway, you and I've had some conversation on this, and some others of you on here have, is Randy, would you open your mic and share any of your thoughts, and then we'll come back and get to everybody's going to get a chance to weigh in. For one thing, I want to hear, Randy, is kind of your thoughts on the overall process, and then I want to hear specifically from your standpoint who you are, what you offer to the group, and what kind of challenges or what your goals are as we move forward with this. Is that reasonable?
Sure.
Okay, you got the floor.
Of course, you realize that list of stuff that you gave, I could probably talk for 3 or 4 hours on, but I'll see if I can cut it down to 5 minutes. So yes, I worked with David a little bit on this. I think the concept of a mastermind is the logical next step for our group. Um, we have the people that are on this screen, and hopefully people that will join with us in the coming weeks are people who are committed to networking. They're committed to their businesses. They're committed to grow. They know that there are problems, challenges that they each face. And I think one of the benefits of a mastermind, beyond just the networking, is the ability to seek out, find, and partner with other people who have either been where you are or heading in the same cliff that you are, and can team up with you, partner up with you, and find solutions to fix those problems and make your networking more successful. I will fess up to the fact that I have actually never been part of a mastermind group in my career. I don't think they were popular when I was a pup, but in a sense, the things that we've talked about, that David has talked about, are the kinds of things that I embraced sort of logically as an executive. You learn, if you're lucky, you learn pretty early in your career, you can't do it all. You can't solve all the problems by yourself. And if you try, you could crash and burn. And the same thing goes for each of us as an individual sole proprietor. That we can still be a sole proprietor means it's my business. The outcome is mine in a sense. But every single person on this screen and others have been in many cases where I am, or where I've been, or where I'm heading. And the best way for each of us to move faster and more successfully in the direction that we want to go is by leveraging the experience of all the people in this group. And so I think it's deserved to transition this from a pure networking group to a mastermind group. Even, I mean, what's in a name? I think Shakespeare said that, but, a lot's in a name. The focus of a networking group is to network. The focus of a mastermind group is still to network, but it's to leverage the power and the knowledge and the skills of everybody who's part of the mastermind group so that each of us can ratchet up the success quotient of our business. So I'm excited that we're making, this move in a different direction. I talked to David more than usual this week. And I told him, I said, I think personally, I think the timing is absolutely perfect. I think we were just ready to move to another step. And I'm glad that we, meaning this group and others, are taking the move to another step rather than you individually looking for what we can offer together someplace other than Richardson Plano Networkers. So I think I'd like to hear what other people have to say. I don't need to monopolize the mic. You guys have all heard me babble on. Babylon, Babylon 5. There you go. See, that was a squirrel. But anyway, David, do you think that's sufficient, sir?
Yeah, that's great, and we'll come back to anything that specifically you want. But Lloyd, since you put your electric in quotes, you end up at the top of the my list here, so that I don't miss anybody. What I'd like for you to do again is talk about not your own necessarily view of Mastermind. If you want to give just a thumbs up or a thumbs down, or think this is a good idea, bad idea, that's fine. But more importantly, as being hopefully a regular participant in the group, is what it is. You can talk about what you monetize, that's fine, but also as you have a little history behind you, as do I, as does Randy, as does a number of us here. and a perspective on the beach ball, as I mentioned in that little presentation. So I'd love to hear the goals that you have. I know you have a new company that you're integrating in. You're evaluating some of the things you're doing. That's got to present some opportunities as well as challenges. And so, even in your massive experience, but can you share with us quickly what it is that your goals or goals would be out of a group like this or moving forward, as well as any challenges that you might have?
Well, I, first off, I think masterminds are great, and they're not always easy to set up and perpetuate because a lot of people don't understand what a mastermind is. Uh, for me personally, masterminds are is a great way to learn. Uh, Interestingly enough, this meeting I was in, we're talking about mastermind. So I think it's a concept that's actually coming to fruition. Masterminds are great in that you get to learn from other people without exorbitant cost. I know there's a lot of people that try to monetize masterminds, and I suppose at some point, that'd be worth it. For me, I have a very non-traditional business, so a mastermind for me is talking to people who are in my industry or in my sphere that are more successful, right? Because the whole concept of following in someone's footsteps is very true in my case. So you learn from what they did and you implement what they did. The thing about mastermind and about anything is action. No matter how much you learn, you still got to take action. As far as I'm concerned, I like David said, I had a corporate merger, so my whole world is a little bit different. Still learning a lot from a fire hose. I think I got it down from a waterfall to a fire hose these days. So I offer a few services that I think are essential to everybody. Cell phone service, electricity, merchant services, identity theft, home and business security, among a whole bunch of other things. But I want to get back to Mastermind. It is where you can be without fear of criticism or condemnation. Okay. For me personally, I find that in a mastermind, not that I'm perfect or great or anything, but I usually, because I got great here, I've been down the line a bit. So I find that I typically am the one offering advice. Like we did a mastermind this morning and no one mentioned business plans, right? That's the first thing you got to do, business plan, if you have a traditional business. So it's just a great place to be a blessing to someone else and potentially be blessed by someone else. So masterminds to me are awesome. So that's about all I got to say.
Great. Well, thanks, Lloyd. I want to give you a hand for that. I appreciate your input. And you raised one point that I want to be very clear on. I know I'm recording this and I'm recording this for our use. If there is any point something that anybody on this call or this Zoom is sharing that ultimately we want to remain kind of like within the room, within this group per se, I promise I will edit that out before I would publish any recording of this, just so you know. So again, having safe space, being comfortable to not only express what you're hoping to accomplish, but also your challenges is extremely an important component of this. And I find that we are in this group generally very, very focused on that. So, but still, it doesn't go without saying. And thank you, Lloyd, for sharing that perspective. Don Huff, would you like to open up your mic and I'm not going to repeat the same thing that I said before. Hopefully you were paying attention. Don. Can't see.
Oh, is it my turn already?
There, you're up.
Yeah, I like the mastermind group. It offers specific questions and specific feedback, kind of like a king's court or a cabinet. It's quite helpful. Many people have been where I want to go or where you have, and I look forward to participating with you on that.
Yeah. So share with us, Don, what your goals are, what your and your challenges. There's people here that have been here before or may not know what you do. So this is the point where we can,
Okay. I wasn't sure how much I could go. So my name is Don Huff. I'm a graphic artist. I design and illustrate information that communicates, educates, inspires, and entertains. What that looks like this week is I'm drawing monsters. Monsters from space. And that's a lot of fun. I really like drawing when I get to draw pictures, but I do logos and painted ads and websites. For me, business problem is just keeping that funnel full and what's going to be most successful to me. Is it newsletters? Is it LinkedIn? Is it networking? Is it a little of each? And how maybe I can get a couple of bigger clients instead of dozens of small ones.
Okay. Actually, that's great. Thank you, Don. That's again very real, and I think you're not the only one that has those particular challenges as far as keeping your pipeline full and possibly getting more of what would be your ideal client. Again, that's part of what we try to do and recommend to people to you. But on the other hand, with some intention, how can we help do that and maybe give you some input on that from our own experience would be something that as a mastermind we could contribute. Don Sprague, the next Don, you want to go ahead and open and share?
Yeah, I very familiar with masterminds. I came out of a role before I got into real estate back in 2002 in a very large IT group. And one of the things I learned back then was that you have to get together because it's a very complex organization, very complex software and hardware combinations and so on. And you have to have input from a lot of different disciplines to solve problems. And the root cause is what you're looking for, and you don't always get it from what your perspective. So I learned that back then, and I took it to real estate. Back in 2003, there was a few of us that formed a mini mastermind group when I was with Remax to try to address some issues that were prevalent to newbies in our business, which I was, and a couple others were as well. And we learned that the same thing you said in your presentation, Dave, that you have to get perspective from all different viewpoints to become, to solve problems. And so my goals right now are coming out of a lull in my business for about 3 years, which some of you know why. But the other thing that I'm trying to do is to regen my business, and I'm trying to get in networking groups that are not just traditional, because one of the things that people convert to mastermind groups to avoid, I think, is the fact that you get into a group setting and you're sharing your 30 seconds and then you go away and come back next week and do the same thing. And we don't, that's not what we want to do. We want to become very participants in each other's careers and help each other out. And by talking about your challenges and your goals and what you can share with people from your experiences, where we ought to be. And I'm fully in favor of doing that. In fact, I'm very encouraging that we're doing this. So that's all I've got at the moment.
Awesome, Don. Thank you. I appreciate that. That was incredible. First of all, you hit on a couple things. One is we don't want Groundhog Day. We don't want this group. We meet Monday when we do a mixer on Monday, we do a networking group on Wednesday, and we do training. We've been doing training on Friday. The last thing we want to do is become Groundhog Day. We just do this week and do it again and do it again and do it again. So the one point that you brought out that I thought really resonated with me is the fact that this is a vehicle for us, each of us, to help each other move forward, which is essentially what we're talking about. So it's not where we are this week isn't the same as last week, and so on and so forth. And that's one of the things that when Randy and I talked, and I talked to a number of other leaders that either weren't able to make it or may show up here before, and that's one of the things we talked about was the power of what this intention, at least, of what we're trying to do. All right, let's keep moving. Marv Williams. Marv, you want to chime in here? Come off, open your mic and open your video if you'd like. If I don't see you open up pretty quick, I'm going to keep moving. Okay, Mike Dressel, go ahead.
All right. So yeah, I'm very, very much in favor of masterminds. Even like, so a lot of people kind of going with the Groundhog Day and the, I would say that a lot of people blame the institution of networking as a repetitive process. But it's where the rubber meets the road is what do you do with those tools? Just had a conversation with a gentleman this week that was like, hey, I'm in a paid networking group and I've only gotten $75 out of it. And I'm like, but what have you done to encourage the relationships? And what have you done with the people in the room that allow you to get more ROI, to allow you to get more return on your investment intellectually and in your bank account? And so it's not, I love this mastermind idea that Randy and Robert and David has put together, because I see a lot of it because I like Don came from a corporate world, I did too. I hear a lot of transition into a corporate mindset. And that is a game changer, because this individual, even though he was being equipped by this networking group, he was sitting in the room with a different mindset than he should have had. And we had a small little group that was talking to him, and then all of a sudden the light came on. So it's not about you doing consistently something and just hoping that it lands on the person. It's about relating to them where they are. And this allows us to have the more freedom to do that, to understand where that person is and how to assist them, like Dave said, going forward rather than stagnant or in reverse. And so I'm very excited about this mastermind. Those that y'all pretty much know what I do. I do medical insurance, which you can get stagnant in that industry. So you've got to keep a mindset of going forward rather than going backwards or stagnant. So that's my share.
Sorry, I got to unmute myself here. One of the things, number one, thank you. And I appreciate your participation in the community, as always. And I do like your perspective on things, and then health insurance obviously is a thing you're going. You mentioned early before we got into this part about trying to get some more visibility, trying to have a more of an impact, differentiate yourself within the industry. I want to, Todd, Todd Brewster, I will come to you in a minute, but I saw your post in the chat, and in the interest of making clarity, I think it would be great if you literally just read what you posted in the chat. Anybody can look at what he posted, but there is some interesting thoughts there about his challenge and what he's trying to do by applying networking. So we're going to keep going. And Marv, I skipped you, so if you get back in here and you want to jump in, I'm going to open up the end up open up your mic after somebody's talking, I'll come back to you. So I won't forget you. At least I intentionally will try. Ramian, I believe you are new to the group. So if you'd like to open up your mic, you've heard the feedback and conversation. Hi, so introduce yourself as well as your thoughts about what we're doing here.
Sure. So actually, this is like my second or third meeting. I actually met through Alan Diamond.
Okay.
And I attended one other meeting. I was working for another financial institution. I'm now with InTouch Credit Union in Plano. I'm the branch manager. So I'm over 3 employees here. And the first part of the year, I transitioned over here. So through training and so forth and some staffing conflicts, I was not able to make any meetings. So I'm trying to get back into it right now. So to be honest, I'm not really familiar with the mastermind concept as you were talking and others were talking. I was actually kind of Googling it just to see the concept. So I'm definitely open for any change, but yeah, you know, the main purpose is just basically to, you know, open up my professional and personal networking, and then, you know, just be available to the community.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Ramian. And first of all, let me apologize. I saw you live and large on the screen. I didn't recognize the name, but I do remember your face, and I'm glad you're back with us. And I do remember that Alan recommended you. And I think to answer your question at the end of this, the last slide I have, I'm going to give you some resources to understand what the concept and even more on the whole concept of Masterminds. So, but thank you for joining us. Thank you for weighing in. And as you embrace, you know, InTouch and what you're doing in your business, hopefully we can be a service to you and expand your brain as you talk about in Mastermind. It's bigger than the one of us that are trying to solve our challenges. Okay, let's keep moving. Randy, I'm going to come back to you I realize you already commented on the Mastermind. Also know that Ramian and some other folks may not totally be clear on what your goal is relative to your business. As I know, you classify yourself as retired. It's the same as I've been retired for 16 years, but it's not doing nothing. So I want to understand, number one, what your goal is for this group, as well as any challenges that you're experiencing. Okay, so go ahead, Randy. Open up your mic.
Well, you're really full of surprises today. Okay, just challenging me with the Babble on. If I got to be careful. Oh, Babylon 5. No, we did that already, didn't we?
Coral again.
You know, I think this will help because I think as we each begin to realize that the value of a mastermind group is how we can each help each other more than we're doing today. With a straight networking group, you know, the expectation of getting help from somebody else is getting a referral, getting a lead, being introduced. But in a mastermind group, I think what we're really trying to do is leverage the skills, the knowledge, the contacts, the problem-solving tools, all of those things that each of us have. I mean, Don was talking about in, you know, his industry, how it's changed, and Lloyd was talking about his, you know, the acquisition of his parent company and how things are changing. I spent my almost entire career in that model of constant change. Sometimes things changed around me and I had to adapt. And sometimes I was the change agent, and I was hired to go to a company and to figure out why it's not growing. And I didn't walk in there with a little black book. I did, but not, the little black book didn't have the answers. Okay? I had to seek out the people in the business who did have the answers. They may not have had the answers, but they had suggestions, and suggestions are just as good as answers, because sometimes the previous management ignored that. So I see my role in this as we begin to move forward is to be the ombudsman and to listen, to seek out each one of you and sit with you and help you do the research. I mean, sometimes you could do the research yourself, but sometimes you don't understand where to go. And so I can be a tool, a vehicle for you to seek out the information that's necessary to apply this concept to your business and introduce you to other people in the group who maybe you don't know that they've done this already. You know, like Ricky Jean's not here today. But, you know, we might say, well, you know, what does he know about my business? He doesn't, perhaps, but what he does know is he does know how people respond to different inputs. And that's really important. You know, you people are, you're not selling a commodity. It's not going in a vending machine. People put a quarter in and they get something out. You're selling a service. And first of all, you have to identify a need. Then you have to somehow get to know that person so that you can have a conversation with them. And then you can say, okay, so what's preventing you from growing your business? What's preventing you from expanding and making more money? And then you have a conversation. And that's what I'm doing with the guy who wrote the book that I helped him with. Now he's actually implementing the book with companies. And he wants me to help him figure out how to do that. It was one thing, he knew how to write the book. He knew what the problem was that he had to solve. But what he doesn't know, he's a bit of a, I can't think of the right word. He's shy. He's a shy guy, you know. He's used to getting up in front of a room full of college kids and giving a lecture, but he's not used to getting up in front of a board of directors or a senior executive and make a pitch. I don't even like to use that, but you know what I mean.
Right.
And so my job is to help him do that. And I think that's the same role that I see myself playing here. And by the way, don't give me any credit for creating this concept. Okay, it's David who realized that he wanted to take this group to the next step, and I am just an assist. I'm just helping that. I don't want to take the credit. Okay, not that I think that that's bad, but I think his timing was impeccable, and I think that this is a great move for us. It's a great move for everybody in the group, and it's a great move for Richardson Plano Networkers. So.
Thanks, Randy. And I'm going to keep moving, but I do, again, this is not, if we move forward successfully here, this is not going to be about, we're all going to be able to see the fruit of our labor. We're all going to be able to take some credit for the progress of individuals within this group, because as a mastermind, we're all contributing our unique value to the equation. And everybody here that's spoken thus far, if you've listened, you can see has some unique value that they can offer to the equation. So Robbie D, speaking of unique value, Robbie has a massive amount of experience. We don't need to retread. You and I have talked about the mastermind concept and so on, but tell me today kind of what you told me yesterday and what I've heard from you about kind of what your goals are right now and what are your challenges?
The mastermind group is a natural evolution of the networking group, where the networking group is more social, meeting people, referrals. The mastermind group, in my opinion, is something where we can drill down in people's businesses and find out within our group knowledge how we can help each other. I spent 25 years as a stockbroker, lost my voice, recreated myself, started buying real estate. Now I buy houses, flip them, but it's time to move on. I have a true passion of creating a new form of entertainment called social gardening. And that's going to be in my greenhouse communities. So, greenhouse communities is a way to give back to people, change the way you get your food, give you pure food, bring people of like-minded together. But this is such a big project, and I've been focusing on my real estate. Now I'm getting back to trying to launch my greenhouse communities, and I've really developed a whole new plan to get this off the ground. I look forward to a point where I can review with everybody my goals, my achievements, and how I'm going to get this project off the ground. So can't wait, guys. We're just going to explode.
All right. Thanks, Robbie D. That was good. And that is beautiful. And in fact, what you've said is two things. One is you have a mass amount of experience in a lot of different areas that we wouldn't know if we just look to your 30 seconds. The other thing is you have some things that you're doing right now that's occupying your time, and you have a vision of going forward that can be improved and or completed, and we can build a wealth team or some people around that. And that's, again, one of the byproducts and value of a mastermind. So I'm going to now go to Todd. And Todd, I don't know if you heard my assignment, but I did read your chat, and I thought that was a beautiful summary. So if you want to read that and or restate that, that would be great.
Okay, well, I can do that. Well, yeah, basically, you go to a networking group and you run into other people that are selling life insurance, and they call it by different things, and they're there to sell. Well, I'm a buyer, and I got that concept. I was a media buyer for 30 years, probably had the most efficient media buying service in the country, where I went to people who were advertising because people came in, they were selling, this channel, that channel, this medium, that medium, all these different things, and people, they got confused and they bought from people that they knew and liked, but they didn't buy, correctly. So I went in there and I bought the media correctly. They got 40% savings on their advertising. I'm sorry, they reached 40% more of the target audience, and it was a very easy sell, and I kept clients a long time. Then I realized that people don't know how to buy life insurance. And unfortunately, they buy it and it's too late. But I'm trying to get people that need to be buying more life insurance, or younger people who need to get it, or maybe even worse, people that younger, they bought term and invested difference. Well, now they're 55 years old. They realize that they don't really have any retirement funds, or they realize that they don't have insurance to leave to their heirs, and that's who I'm trying to help. So, and with me, anybody that knows me knows I'm the worst salesman in the world. And so I'm always asking Randy and Dave for advice all the time, because I just can't sell. I'm a buyer. I'm an analytical person. So a mastermind group to me is fantastic, because, the other thing people know about me is that I don't talk about, hey, how's the weather? I ask, in-depth questions because I want to know how people think. And that's just the way I'm built, and I enjoy it. And then, if someone has a different opinion than me, people get mad over that. I don't get mad. Hey, that's your opinion. I like to hear where the structure is. I'm a mathematician. If A, if B, if C, then D. People are arguing about D. That's not the question. It's if A, if B, if C. There's where somebody has a difference in opinion. And so it's fun talking in depth to people, and I enjoy it. And I like to help people, and I like to connect with people. And that's the way my mind works, where this person's a good connection with that person. So a mastermind group is right up my alley. So I appreciate you, Dave and Randy, for pursuing this.
All right. Thanks, Todd. And by the way, that was beautiful. And again, the way each of you are choosing to communicate your goals and your challenges and what you're doing is more revealing than you realize. And that's the intention of a mastermind, is not only do we put in those things into the mastermind, but I'm trying to do my best to listen very intently to what you're saying and things that you've pointed out about challenges. Randy's also taking notes and making things about this, and that's part of what we're going to do, because we want to be continuous. We don't want this to be stop, start, not doing this. So those who've invested in this meeting or in this event this Friday and comes back next Friday, when we have a speaker that comes, we're going to say, okay, how can we apply that? Todd, this might work for you. You might want to, because sometimes you listen to a speaker or you listen to things, say that was good, but then you don't know how to apply it. You don't know how to take action around it. So part of what we're going to do is that. Now I'm going to ask Vic Nathan. Vic, you want to open up your mic, and we've kind of gone through things. You don't have to retread the turf, but you want to share with us your goals and the challenges you're experiencing and how a mastermind may help you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So as the general consensus indicates, I am in agreement with the general consensus that this is a natural evolution of a networking circle or cycle of growth, that a mastermind would be the next logical step. From that perspective, the challenges that I face are a little bit unique in that my primary business is a ministry. And so there are some challenges that need to be overcome that traditional businesses do not need to face, I would say, in that people need to really get to know me and my heart and what it is that I am trying to the desired outcome and the effect of why I am in ministry. And people have to volunteer their time, effort, and energy to support a cause from a financial perspective that is near and dear to their hearts. That is not very centric to society as a whole, in my opinion, or at least in my circle. In my circle, there aren't very many people that are so spiritually minded that they're looking for opportunities to support nonprofits that are trying to build the kingdom of God. People are very, in networking circles, people are very WIIFM, what's in it for me? And it's not about what can I do to help expand upon for other people. So the challenge that I'm facing is how do I get my message out there and get more people interested and in supporting our marriage ministry in terms of giving, because we have lots of plans, visions, and dreams and goals as far as social outreach for the benefit of the kingdom, which is everybody, whether you're a believer or not, in my opinion. And so how do I apply these worldly concepts to growing my ministry? Because ministry is a completely different beast, as I said, than a traditional business. And so to that effect, I do have a small ask of everybody that is on this call. In the chat window, I just typed in our YouTube channel, because one of the things that God put on my heart was, in order to build and grow and evolve the next step is grow your YouTube channel and put out more content. And so my request is, if every single one of you would go on to that YouTube channel and subscribe and turn on notifications, it would mean the world to me and to the rest of my board as well. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to learning skills and collaboration and learning more details about how people can help, because
Actually, Vic, I'm going to give you an applause there, and that's a good break point, because we get that. I mean, I totally appreciate what you're doing. One of the things I'm going to say to this group, and I'm going to say to you specifically, Vic, is we had a training with Scott Simon early on, just prior to the pandemic, and he talked about that. And there's some things that we learned about building a YouTube presence. One of the things is that we can work with you. So we can make a topic going forward and further masterminds about how to build that subscribership, which, by the way, we need for the channel that's actually this video will be published to. I need everybody here to have subscribed to that channel, because you need to get to 100 people on a YouTube channel before YouTube will let you uniquely brand it and be able to get on that journey of having an impact with your channel. So very much understood as far as your challenge, very much understood. I will tell you that everybody that I know of that's on this Zoom, they may not have ministry as their objective, but everybody here has a ministry, and we all support ministries in one form or another. So I appreciate you being part of the group. Zip, are you ready to open up your mic and share? I assume by now you should know the drill here, or are you in a place where you can share?
He typed in the thing that he says, "I am listening only now."
Okay, great. That's fine. Perfect. All right. Well, that's actually good, and we will hear from Zip. Zip is a regular participant in here. But one of the things I want to do right now is we're getting to 12:50, and I'm going to bring up the last slide, which is a slide after that I didn't have yesterday. And I think we've gotten kind of a consensus on that a mastermind is a good thing. And I think that's a degree of acceptance and brilliance. But I mentioned Think and Grow Rich. And actually, for those of you who are here or that watch this video after the fact, in the private Facebook group of Richardson Plano Networkers, if you do not have a copy of Think and Grow Rich, I happen to have a copy of Think and Grow Rich, but I'm going to share a PDF. You can't copy it or whatever and share it, but I can share within our group a PDF. And if you go to Principle 19 in Think and Grow Rich, here is the highlights from Napoleon Hill's description, if you will, of Mastermind.
David, you said 19. The slide says 9. Could you just clarify?
Did I say 19? That was just,
yes, sir.
I just misspoke.
Okay.
It's principle number 9. It's called Mastermind. It says you must do it yourself. So we all know as entrepreneurs that we must do it. We have to take the action, but you can't do it alone. And I say that, you say, well, I do everything. No, you don't do everything alone. You need clients to go with you. You need partners to go with you. You need other things. You need God to go with you. You know, you need some connection. There's a whole list of things. If you think you're only doing it alone, or you need to do it alone, we need to have a one-to-one, or you need to have one-to-one with somebody in this group you trust. Secondly is, if you want to succeed, you're going to need help. If you don't admit that you need help, again, you're going to be stuck. You shouldn't ask for help from random people. Part of the reason we're creating this intentional group, when I have one-to-ones with people, I mentioned it on that video, but when I have one-to-ones with people, I will learn things about people, and once I get to know, like, and trust them, I respect their opinion, their experience. I learn something about them, and then I get advice or I get help. And here we can create an intentional community that is willing to, and as somebody we mentioned a couple of times, safe space. People can do that. and be there to go along beside you. As I say, a warrior, we're in the trenches together, we're doing things. And then when he talks about mastermind, you're creating a mastermind with other talented entrepreneurs. We're not all in the same business. We may be an overlapping business. We each have unique value. You have a unique reason for doing it, and we each have a unique vision of where we're going. But again, creating a mastermind with other talented entrepreneurs. And the other objective, which we've already said before in his book, is working on problems together. The last quote is, it says, from the book, he says, when two or more people join their talent, knowledge, and effort to achieve a definite purpose, it's almost as though a third mind enters the room, one with more wisdom and experience than any individual member has. Almost all great achievement is the result of a group of dedicated individuals working together. Now, in your own way, many of you who've had experiences in the corporate world or with other companies or whatever, you have shared that belief that life is a team sport, accomplishing what we need help, and we all need help, whether we're willing to admit it or not. So the intention of this group going forward is, in fact, to begin to that journey of us understanding and helping each other to move forward with our goals and overcome the challenges that each of us are experiencing in our own business and our own world.